Well, hello and welcome to this edition of the Lynne Hayes Freeland Show. You know, one of my biggest joys in doing this show is watching other projects, other programs grow. And that's exactly the case with the Advanced Leadership Institute. I feel like Evan Frazier has been on this show for years talking about it. Well, Evan, I hope you remember this. Evan is now the president and CEO. He is doing Tally full time, and Olivia Benson is a member of the recent class of cohorts of Tally. She serves as the COO of the Forbes Fund, and I welcome you both to the show.
It's great to be here. Thank you, Lynn.
So it is. I mean, when I talk about Evan, you know, we've been talking about this this idea that you had. You mentioned to me before we started recording that you had it back in 2016. Now that we are in 2021, tell me the sense of joy, pride, or what are you feeling now? You got 3 classes of cohorts. That's got to be an amazing feeling.
It's really an amazing feeling. I mean, the graduates who are come out of the Executive Leadership Academy and Tally's experience, the feedback has been tremendous, and seeing the progress and the growth. In fact, I think about our first class. We had some statistics recently, and 74% had already received promotions or advancements. And when I see that is
wow,
tremendous. And we see people benefiting from different facets of the program. Sometimes people say it's the relationships with the other cohort members. Others say it's the relationship with their coaches or the mentors, the executive mentors, and others are saying they were more enlightened from the curriculum and the self-reflection that was involved and the faculty that were part of it. And others will tell you that, the community around them, from the advisory board and our board and our CEO council, that they made a difference in helping to be sponsors in different ways. And so it's amazing to see how it's impacting people. And that gives me great joy and great pride.
So, Olivia, I introduce you and I say you are a member of the most recent class of cohorts, that you are the COO of the Forbes Fund. When I look at that on paper, here's my first thought. I'll be very transparent. Why does she need this? Why? Tell me what was it about entering this program that attracted you?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll echo what was actually said at one of the speeches at graduation, was that, you should be a lifetime learner. And Tally really presented a space for me to grow, not only in my current position, but think about future opportunities, as well as reflect on some of the skills that I built. In addition to that, I was able to go through this program and build a team with my fellow cohort members of accomplices and allies as we seek to really elevate ourselves in companies and positions and help the next generation come along too.
So now I'm curious, when you started this program, was it intimidating?
It was not intimidating because everyone was there with the same goal, or at least very similar goals, on how they, had recognized that this was something that could benefit them as the individual and also their company and the community. So it felt like going into just a group of friends naturally, and then growing to also think about how we could support one another through the learnings and through the opportunities that Tally brought to the table.
So, Evan, I want to kind of circle back. You mentioned 74%. Did you say 74% of the first class of cohorts?
Correct.
So then they're all still in Pittsburgh for the most part.
The overwhelming majority are still in Pittsburgh. We do lose a couple here and there.
Okay, yeah.
But the nice thing about it is they're staying connected with us, and they're going to places and being elevated. So they're growing professionally in greater roles. So so if I feel bad if we're losing people to Pittsburgh and they're either staying flat or going in the opposite way, but they're finding growth opportunities, which is exciting to me.
So then we probably should just go back, even though you and I have talked about this a lot, for folks who are just tuning in, who are just hearing about you for the first time. Shame on you, first of all. But if that is the case, how would you describe this program? How do you?
Sure. Well, so the Advanced Leadership Institute, which you may hear us refer to as TALI, T-A-L-I, is really about cultivating Black executive leadership, to strengthen companies, institutions, and communities at large. I mean, that's really what our purpose and mission is. And it's really to help people to advance within their careers and to into higher level executive type roles. That's our goal. The other part is we try to create connections and bonds so that people feel a sense of connectedness and don't feel so isolated being here in our region, so that they want to stay in Pittsburgh. So ultimately that should be helping them to grow professionally and as higher level executives, but also to get people to feel more like they belong here in Pittsburgh and they belong in the region. And so it's really both, so that people feel this greater sense of connectivity, which is something that many of us for a long time have felt that was really needed. And we've lost a lot of people from Pittsburgh, not because they weren't talented or didn't have great jobs, but because they just didn't feel connected.
So Olivia, can you relate to that? I mean, you are a native of this area from Beaver County. You went to undergrad at CMU, so you have roots here. But when Evan describes that, I don't want to say feeling of isolation, but sometimes we as Black and brown people can be isolated in a corporate environment. Can you relate to that?
Oh, 100%. I'd say that, I likely would have left at some point had I not necessarily found a niche that I wanted to work in. And also, one of the reasons that I looked at Tally was thinking about, okay, well, I've made the commitment to stay in Pittsburgh. My parents are 20 miles up the road. And so I'm here. So I need to change and work to change what are, I think, unfair perceptions of Pittsburgh and really participate in this program and build these accomplices and these allies, as well as my fellow cohort members and now alumni, on how we change the narrative and change the dynamic, which is unfortunately causing sometimes folks to hemorrhage from Pittsburgh versus stay in Pittsburgh or become attracted to Pittsburgh. So there are just so many opportunities that this presented that I jumped right in, and I'm trying to take advantage of most of those.
I got so many follow-up questions for you, for Evan, but we got to take a break. We're going to have a lot more to talk about when the Lynne Hayes Freeland Show continues. Don't go away.